Hey, what's up, guys? This is Hubon here. So, decided to do a stream. I was actually trying to do a recorded video earlier, and I just thought, it might be better to just kind of do it live. So, I managed to get my Master Collection card in one of the side packs today, and so I used my coins and I crafted the ultimate form. And I gotta say that this combination, along with the water card, it is it's just unbelievably insane in terms of the amount of damage I can deal. And so what I want to do is I want to showcase the team. I'm also going to showcase various different decks I have built, various different teams, how to use them, the activation order, and all that jazz. And so treat this as a video that I normally would do the offline video, except I'm doing it with some, I'm doing it live in a stream here. So if anybody joins and has any questions, I can also try and answer them. And so what I'm going to do is I'm also going to showcase, teams that you can use to try to be competitive in this event. So one of the things that you might notice is that when you go into a boss, it basically dies by the time you're able to get a hit off. So you have to build yourself a one-turn deck. And I'm going to show you this team right here. And the secret is going to be out after this. I expect this to be even more competitive, but it is what it is, right? Like, you have to be able to compete against these really big hitting decks. And in order to counteract against that big damage that other people are dealing, you have to try and deal damage faster. So hello, I see some people in the chat already, so welcome. I'm just going to be going along. I'm going to play some, play against some bosses, and I'm going to showcase the teams I have here. So the very first one I'm going to showcase is what I call the one-turn deck. And the setup for this deck is pretty easy. And if you have two ultra rare cards instead of 1 and 1, I would recommend using the ultra rares rather than this one, although having the Master Collection card here does have a benefit. So we're going to use Prefect Jacques on the right, and you want to use Watcher of the Waves in the 4th position. And the ordering actually does matter. I'm going to explain to you why. Then in the middle, I would put Masked Malcontent, and then Lost Kingdom Guardians in the 2nd position, and Honor Bell Luminaries on the 1st position. The reason why it matters where you place them is because both of these cards, Prefect Jacques and Honor Bell Luminaries, they will nuke after you deal damage, but there's an order in which they would nuke in, and it actually goes left first. So that means your Honor Bell Luminaries will deal the nuke damage before Jacques does, and because your Luminaries will always deal more damage, you want to do that earlier. And so so that's why Luminaries should always be on the left if you're going to use Jacques and Luminaries. And so that boss was already taken out, so I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to jump into any random boss. I'm going to show you how this works. In terms of relics, you don't have to worry about powering up the water ones, and so just any fire relics would do. If you went to tier 5 like I did, then you should have the same relic set because of the bonus relics that they gave. And so let's go ahead and do a three key battle. And so the goal here is to try and deal damage as early as possible. And with the relic setup, you should have your fire cards powered up on turn 1, and you just activate from right to left. Okay, I set it up so that you activate in one direction and you don't have to skip any cards. And now just take a look at your cards. Look at where your biggest, power gems are. You don't have to take quite as long as I did there, and then do a power gem swap. And so here you can see I've dealt 481, 200, and 292, close to 1 quadrillion damage total combined with this setup. And if I had gone in with another team and I didn't do the one-turn deck, this would have basically been gone. Like, I would not be able to really deal any damage. And if that wasn't enough, the nuke hopefully could at least take it out. Okay, and so that is one of the options. So that is definitely one that is what I'm using predominantly, because it gets me the damage quickly, and it gets me in, and I can go out. Sometimes I can get VIP or at least 20%, sometimes 50%. Now we're gonna do another deck here. So I have one that spawned here. It's a 3-turn deck. When I say 3 turns, I'm really counting the very, very first starting turn as a turn here. You basically need to wait until you get hit. And so with this setup, I'm using, again, it's the same, except I took out Jacques and I put in Perceptive Gurus. So Perceptive Gurus gives you a 1200% damage attack boost when you get hit by the boss. And so you are going to have to wait for 2 turns. But what's nice here is you don't have to wait. You don't have to spend time trying to match the dark gems. You just have to focus on getting the fire gems, and you don't have to worry the second turn. So it still takes a couple of turns, so it still means that there's a high chance that you're not going to be able to get your damage off in time. But this is at least quicker than if you were to use unit area, for example. You may not deal as much damage, but you can go a little bit faster. And now I'm just going to activate from left to right in this case, because I don't have Jacques here, and my personal preference is to go from left to right. Now let's take a look and see how much damage we can deal with this setup here. And we're going to go 20 and 20 here. And also when you do a power gem swap, you want to make sure, so this is okay, like 1.7 3. I was actually able to get, in some cases, I was doing an offline video. And with that same setup, I was able to get over 9 quadrillion total. Right, and so it depends on the way it falls, and it also depends on how you do your match. But like that was a pretty quick 3 quadrillion there, and I could do another nuke damage afterwards if that's not enough. So like if we're going up against Eternals later on, which have hundreds of quadrillion of health, this will come in handy. So James Blanton, Golem is indeed very helpful here. I'm just showing different options here. A lot of people are using Golems as well, and they're using unit area. I'm just talking about like various different options that you could go with. Okay, and Eddie, yeah, I mean there's a lot of different teams set up here, so I'm going to showcase what I'm doing here, and then other people who want to take a look, check out Drunken Monkey if you wanted to get more information also. And so my guildmate did a rally, but I don't want to take it out right away. I want to give my guildmates a chance to participate there. So let's take a look at other bosses if there is any. No other boss. So what I can do is I can show you using the Eternal boss here. And then you can use golems, right? So if you want to use golems, then this is one of the setups here. It uses a high performance unit area. It uses golems. It uses gurus, and then basically the 2 most helpful cards in this setup is going to be the Honor Bell Luminaries and Masked Malcontent, right? And there are you can also set this up with Lost Kingdom Guardians. There's a whole lot of different setups you can do. Really, all the point here is you want to try and get your power gems to power up each other, so you can have the biggest amount of power gems you can. The most important thing is to not do a multi-affinity power gem swap afterwards. You want to save those like dark power gems or water power gems, because when they drop and fall and they match, they are going to give you additional what's the word I'm looking for, additional multipliers, and that is going to help you with your damage. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this on turn 2 here. I'm going to activate unit area here, and I'm going to go ahead and do a gem swap here. And now here, you want to take a look also, you want to be comfortable with, basically just how things are set up here. So I'm actually going to activate Gurus first, and then I'm going to activate my Golems, and then I'm going to activate the 2 Fire Event cards. And I still I wanted to prevent as much Power Gem crush as I can. And now let's go ahead and do a gem swap here. Like, ideally what you want to do is you want to match, I'll try this one. You want to try and match ones that have the biggest, Power Gem numbers. But you can see here, I don't always get the depending on which gems I match, right? And depending on how they fall, sometimes you don't get as much damage as you would like to see. So you can see here, I didn't actually get as much damage as I would have liked to see. Like it was about 400 trillions or so. And so so let's see, James Blanton, you got 5.9 quadrillion, but you only got 3 with dodge. Yeah, so like dodge is an issue there, right? So let's try this again. So like we didn't really get as much damage there. I want to see if there's another boss that we can try out against. So here's one, right? Another option that some people will go with, and this works really well if you have, works really well if you have 2 ultra rare cards. Another option you can go with is I could just simply do this. I could simply go with Water and Arcane Killer, set this up here, and then instead of using Gurus, because it really doesn't give me a lot of power gems, I can also just go back to using Jacques also. And in this case, like I said, you want to place Jacques you want to do luminaries on the left because of the nuke potential, right? And so in this setup, I'm still going to use the 2 relics that are dark on the right side so that I could power up my high performance unit area. I am losing that 1200% attack boost from gurus, but I think sometimes the lack of power gems that you can generate and also the fact that it's power gem 3s, it does make a difference in your overall setup. And so that is something that you want to consider when using various different setups. So let's see how well this goes. Okay, so let's go ahead and activate, and then we're gonna do this. And so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to activate Lost Kingdom Guardians first, and then we're gonna go ahead and activate from left to right. I should have gone from right to left because Jacques is on the right side here. So let's go ahead and do this, I suppose. And let's see how much damage this deals. So we took out Guru and we put in Jacques in its place. And so now we have, kind of more what we were hoping to see, right? 2.8, 1.5, 1.5. So like we're doing quadrillions of damage here with our cards now. But this is with unit area. And you can see it's a little slower. The reason why it's slower is because you have to think about where your dark gems are going. And that's why I prefer the Perceptive Gurus route. It's a lot faster. It's a lot easier to get your hits going. If we take a look at some of the other cards that I have built here, I also have a setup that uses Blitzkrieg. So like if you don't have the event team, what do you do, right? Well, if you don't have the event team, but you have golems and you have this card, you have Guru will help, right? Guru's gonna help, of course, and also you can use unit area is gonna help, but this won't deal like in the high quadrillions, for example, but it should get you close to 400 or 500 each attack. And so I would say that there is a balance in what you can do, but if you can play fast, you could also get something going there. So like one of my team, like this was originally what I was using, and I was using this team originally because I didn't have the event team, I didn't have Master Collection card, I didn't have the ultra rare card. I was just using this. And so let's go ahead and go against, I saw an Eternal boss there, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that against the guild boss just so that we can try out. Nui Mui, the 2500 from Yuria is enough. Indeed, it is. Like, you don't really have to combine them. Like, sometimes I just kind of want to try to maximize as much as I can. And what I like here is I'm going to show you this deck, and I'm going to show you a cheaper alternative to it. Okay, and so let's go ahead and try this first. So what I was trying to do earlier, as I was mentioning earlier in the stream, is that I was trying to do an offline video. I have all of these teams set up, and I was trying to do them, but I just kind of felt like, I was basically doing the same thing as I would normally would in the stream anyway, and so I just figured I'll just do that in case anybody has any questions. Okay, so now we're in an Eternal boss, so it should survive. I don't think I'm going to be dealing that much damage to kill it on first turn. And so with Guru, with unit area, the only difference here is I don't have golems here. Man, that sucks. I don't want to lose too many of my power gems. And now let's take a look and see how well we do here. Okay, and so I have blind, but what's nice is high performance unit area is going to get rid of it. So I think the right thing to do here is going to be the water. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and basically activate everything. So I activate Blitzkrieg last because it can create 8 power gems, and you can see here like the power gem level just isn't quite as high as what we see in the other cases, but that's to be expected, right? And we have some spots that aren't even filled out with power gems, and so but that's sort of like the best I could do. And you can see here Blitzkrieg was able to deal 460 trillion. Now granted, it is 3 stars though, right? So it is 3 stars, so I'm getting 800% damage boost, but I was able to deal close to 500 trillion in that one attack. And every 4 turns, I'll be able to do this again. So, if you lock a boss, for example, you can at least deal some good damage that way. This is without using the event boss. Now, I mentioned that there's a cheaper option, okay? Not everybody is going to have ultimate forms in every single affinity. And so what can you do? Well, the nice thing here is if you can lock a boss, and if you want to give this a shot, you want to try to deal similar amount of damage, then hopefully you at least have this card. Hopefully you have at least the regular unit area, because once you reach 200 immortal intensity, then you're going to have the same capabilities as the high performance unit area in the attack boost. Okay, and so you can do this. In fact, if you have 2 unit area, you could actually use both of them. I believe both of them will stack. I can't remember if both of them stack. I know for sure that it stacks with the ultra rare, right? Ultra rares cannot stack, but I thought that the support cards do. But in any case, if you don't have the ultra rare card, you can at least try this. And then the other card that you could try and use would be the water one. So if you don't have the ultra rare card, or if you don't have the ultimate form, you don't have the master collection card, what do? There is a card that most people should have received, and that is the bedeviling Kelpie. Okay, so bedeviling Kelpie is the dragoon version of the water Slayer card from this event, from this season, where it will give you 5 power gen 4s, and then when it's ambush, it will create 5 additional ones. This is the same as the event card, right? So I think High King Acdennis. So if you don't have any of those cards, but you have this dragoon, you could use it. Okay, so you could use this card. And then Blitzkrieg is available in the Proving Ground store. Like I said, I would recommend you going for that just because you can get an ultimate form this event. And you have Decibels of Despair that is available in the Drill Fist Depot. So you have some cheaper alternatives. Now with Gurus, there is not much I can do. If you don't have Gurus, then you're gonna have to find another. Fire card to use. But with this deck, what you're doing is you're basically trying to build up your intensity so that you can hit it. So let's go and actually try this. We're gonna have to find a boss that we can. Well, there's a boss that was rallied. I'm hoping that it isn't going to be taken out right away, because we need to build up to 200 intensity, but hopefully with all of our relics here, we could get there quickly. So let's take a look and see how well this version does. So we saw that in the earlier version, we were able to get, about 460 trillion for Blitzkrieg, right? And now what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of slowly build ourselves up. We're going to build up unit area, and we're waiting for our intensity to go up to 200 anyways. Okay, and so this is, this isn't going to be. Ah, man, my guildmate just came in and took it out. Okay, so that's sort of the danger though. Using this setup is it takes too long, right? But if you're able to lock a boss, I'm gonna try and see if there's a boss that I could lock. If I could lock a boss, then at least I could show it. But if I can't, then this is why I need to let my guildmates know, hey, I'm trying something. Don't take out the boss. But it is what it is. But like you can see there, like if my intensity were to go up to 200, I could get the same kind of. I could get the same kind of damage out there. Okay, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try this Eternal. Hopefully nobody touch it. If anybody in my guild is watching, don't hit the guild boss, because I am trying it. I mean, I could just type it in text also. All right, let's try this one more time. Yeah, so Ben Circuit's definitely 1 UR and 1 support stack. What I can't remember is whether or not 2 supports will stack there. Eric Taylor, you got the full team high performance area, but not the water ultimate form. What could you replace them with? You don't really need the water ultimate form. If you have the full team with high performance unit area, the question is do you have golems too? If you have golems, then you just use that. If you don't have it, then like I said, you can use Kelpie. Kelpie should be a card that you have also. Like it should be a card that most people have, because it was a warden. It was a reward, right? So instead of a warden, we got we got dragoons instead. And so let's just quickly go. I think 2 more turns and I'll be able to get to 200. And so that will be also good timing, because then I will be able to wait for the boss attack. Yeah, so I just need this turn, and then my boss will attack me. And then let's take a look now and see. So we're now at over 200 intensity for Immortal. We're using regular area, and we're using Kelpie, okay? And so let's go ahead and check this out. So we're using this, and we're going to get hit first. And I don't want to lose all of my fire power gems though. Okay, so now we're gonna get hit by the boss. Let's take a look and see what our damage is like. So we don't dispel though, because that dispel comes from the ultra rare card ability, unfortunately. So you won't be able to do the dispel. That's the unfortunate thing. So we are going to be hit with blind, but let's take a look here and see how this setup works. So like, you know, unfortunately, because it didn't. Again, we had this problem where we have all of these gem crushes, so it's not going to deal as much damage as we would like. So the only thing we can hope for is we just try and match the biggest power gems we can and keep our fingers crossed, and let's see how much do. I'll be happy with like 100 trillion here. So 67. So, you know, I think we could potentially do a little bit better, but you know, 67, this is with, you know, with using a dragoon and using a regular support card here. And I think that, you know, for a team that is sort of made up here, that's not too bad, right? So buyback. Can you do buyback? So you can always buy a card back if you have it, but I'm not sure what you're buying back from. So like buyback, you can only get one card, and if you have an ultra rare card already, ultimate form, you cannot buy the ultra rare or the magic collection card because they will count like those two cards are part of the evolution. Oh, I see. That's what you're saying. If you sold off all your dragoon cards, you can buy one back, and even at 4 stars, it'll have the same capability. So you should be able to do that. So that's the one thing I wanted to share with everybody too, is that, you know, you can use your dragoons. So you can use dragoons. I have 2 of them actually, so I'm gonna do that. And you can, like, this is now like for people who don't have the event team. If you had to find Li Hua, you can add her in. Black Noir is a good option here because it creates 4 power gem 3s and then double, so you can get at least 8 power gems here. Works well with Blitzkrieg. And I'm going to showcase this team here and show you how much damage you can actually deal there. Can you not buy bad dragoons? I've never tried. I've never sold any, so I don't know. Let's see. So with that particular team, I think it doesn't matter. We can actually make that a 1-turn deck too. This is also a 1-turn deck on its own right here. If you use dragoons, basically this is like, you know, mimicking like what it would be like, right? So if I were to use this setup, this is my 1-turn deck. I'm not using any boost. I'm just relying on my Blitzkrieg's killer skill, but in my case, I'm going to get more damage because I have a 3-star. I'm going to have a 3-star card, but if you don't have a Blitzkrieg, or if you have it at 1-star, your other cards already have 400% damage boost anyway. And so in this case, though, the activation order is going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to activate Li Hua first, then I'm going to activate one of the Kelpies, then I'm going to activate Black Noir, then I'm going to activate Kelpie again, and then I'm going to activate Blitzkrieg. Okay, so I'm still getting some gem upgrades. Let's see how well this does. This is interesting because it is so staggered. This is so staggered. I have no idea what to expect in terms of the damage output. Yeah, so this one gives me, you know, it's not too bad, right? So this one gives me 60 trillion or so, right? So this is about 60 trillion, and this is with no boost, no, zero boost, no event card, and I'm using dragoons in this setup. So it is not everybody. Perhaps you know, not everybody will have the dragoon, but it was a reward. If you were in, you know, emperors, you would have 2 of them, and if you're in the Kings League, you most likely would have 1. But even just 1 will be helpful, right? So I'm just trying to show like different people will be able to perform at different prestige levels. And so let's say, you know, 60 trillion is perfect for the Ruby bosses. It is perfect for Ruby, and it's good enough for Diamond too. Diamond bosses are about 400 trillion, and your turn 1 damage is about 60 trillion. With this setup, you could probably continue and get more, right? And so it's perfect for Ruby though. So if you're in like Prestige 4, for example, I think Prestige 5, you see Rubies too. So like you could at least do some damage there. And this is, you know, just a different alternative there. And like I said, you can also, you know, like if you don't have the water ultimate form, but you have dragoons, like I said, you know, it's just something that you could try. So like now if we were to go back and say, okay, well now let's see, like I have the event team, but how do I get more damage? What I haven't done is I haven't tried a full fire team, right? If I just did the full event team, I'm curious how much damage we would actually be able to do. So let's set it up and let's take a look. So like this event really, I mean, this video, I just want to show all kinds of different options there, and hopefully some people can actually try it. Oh man, I didn't actually get a gem crush in this one. I might actually end up taking out the boss now. No, okay. So let's go ahead and this is the same team. I forgot to change it up. It's kind of annoying. Like I switched the team and I go back to my deck, and then I try again and it doesn't change it. All right, so let's do an 8 and 7 here. And so let's see, potentially we could deal a little bit more damage with this setup here. No, this is even worse. Oh my gosh. So like, see how it was like a big cluster? What I've noticed is that big clusters cost you less damage. So like if you have like a giant cluster of fire gems and then you do a power swap, even if you do like a power gem swap of like 20s, you would think that it's going to give you a massive amount of damage, but a lot of times I find that it actually is the opposite. Those are the times when you do this, like, you know, hey, I got like these power gem 20s, I do a match, and boom, I get 2 trillion damage. And it's like, what in the world? Why is that? I think it's because of the clustering. So now let's go back and try this again, like this other team, and then we're gonna try also with just event team. And if you don't have Kelpie, you don't have the water card, some of the other things that you can do is you can use any other card, like potentially like passively spawns power gems, for example. Like those can also work. So like a lot of people I've seen, some people use Starborn Sentinels, some people use the Savage Swarm. You could also use the most recent Afterlife Alliance, because it will also give you 4 power gems every single turn. Like all those would work. So let's go ahead and, so we're going to do 1 turn with Dragoon, right? So if you don't have those cards, then use cards that give you passive ability, like Power Gen 5s. Really what you're looking for is like anything that can give you Power Gen 5s. Ideally, you know, with ability for the water cards to create 14, that's the reason why they're ideal. But if you don't, then you can make anything work. It's just that if you're looking to build a 1-turn deck without haste, right? Without haste in the mix, it's just going to be a little bit harder. It's going to be a little bit harder because you need to make sure that you have the right relics in place. And so here, I mean, we're still getting a few 100 trillion with Kelpie there, so that's not too bad. Okay. So Eric, you've got 2 pink stars, 2 rare event relics, pink star, golem relics. Yeah, so like if you are using golem and event deck combination, you should be set. The only challenge you're going to face is you're going to be in a situation where by the time that you can fire off your cards, the bosses are usually dead. Okay. So Maria, welcome. Hello from Denmark. Thank you. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining me here. Eric Taylor. So you have high performance unit area, glorious golem. What is the activation order? So I think that is exactly what I have. So I'm going to show you. This is what I had with golem. So I'm going to change this up. So I'm going to change this to golem. So what you want to do is you want to have your 3 fire relics and 2 dark relics. That's what you want to do. So we're going to change this to golems, and then the activation order is going to be after you've activated your high performance unit area and you get hit. Then take a look at the board, but usually I find it's best to just activate your golems first, and then start with Jacques, then Mass Malcontent, and then end with your high honor roll luminary. If you missed it, what I mentioned is the order of the nukes matters. So if you place Honor Bell Luminaries on the far left in position 1, it will fire off its nuke first. And so if you have both Jacques and Luminaries, put Luminaries on the left, because the Luminaries nuke will come off first and you're going to deal more damage. And then your opponents are going to get their attack in between your nuke, put between Luminaries nuke and Jacques nuke. So that's why you want Luminaries nuke to go first. So activation is going to be Jacques, Masked Malcontent, then Luminary after golems. Okay. Chat box, you always miss my live stream. I should be the next Jeff. For those of you who don't know, I actually went down to LA 3 years ago, 2.5 years, I think almost 3 years ago now. Went down to LA. I met Jeff in person. I met all of the content creator team. super nice people, amazing people, and Jeff was really cool. I met him when he didn't have the beard yet. And it's really unfortunate he isn't going to be around anymore. So yeah, I really will miss him too. But I don't think they're going to have me do anything on their apps. All right, so let's go ahead and see. Like this is how I normally would play. Like if I wanted to come in and say like, look, like there's only like 386 trillion left. If I were to jump in with anything other than a one turn deck right now, the boss is dead. Okay. In fact, the boss is probably dead as we speak. But with my deck, coming in with my one turn deck right now, the hope is I can get 50%. Okay. Oh, no. No. There is always that risk. The boss is probably dead at this point. Like I sometimes the relics don't work the way you want it to. So that was the situation where I wasted 9 keys. I could have potentially at least gotten my 50%, but I wasted 9 keys there because the relics, for whatever reason, the gems just didn't fall the way I needed to, and I didn't get my that's annoying. Do I waste 9 keys again? I don't really want to keep wasting 9 keys because I want to use them for other bosses. It's dead anyways. But like that's what I mean. Like if you want to jump into a boss really quickly, just go ahead and use this 1 key. So I'm gonna show you like here, right? Let's see how much damage we can consistently do. Again, one turn deck. This was what I showcased first in the stream, so some of you may have missed it. But this is what I think is a good balance. So if you have this setup, I think this is a really good balance for damage output. And also just, fighting the big damage that you see. Like so many times we go in and we basically just, don't get our damage in. So this is a good way to at least help protect against that. Activation order is going to be from right to left. And you always want to kind of stagger. I find it to be most effective. Different people will say different things that work for them. I personally like this, right? And now we're just going to go ahead and do our 17 and 20. And see, now there's a big cluster though. I find that when it's a really huge cluster, it's not going to give you the biggest damage. Excuse me. So you can see here, like my luminaries only dealt 108. Whereas the first time I showed it, I was able to deal about 700 trillion. So the bigger the cluster, the smaller the damage. Go figure, right? The bigger the cluster, the smaller the damage, and the bigger the cluster, the smaller the damage, and the bigger the frustration. Like that's really how you think about it. It's like a hamburger approach, right? You got your big cluster, you're all happy, and then they kind of give you that like tiny little damage, right? And then you end up with like this giant frustration to like surround that. So anyways, you want to look for you want to look for the gem positioning where there's not a huge cluster. Look for those smallish clusters. That's going to give you the biggest damage output. So let's see, Jericho, you're using Perceptive Grooves plus High Performance Unit Area and the Master Collection card, Ultra Rare card, and I guess the Ultimate Form. Yeah, so Grooves plus High Performance Unit Area, that I showcased that too. You're going to have to sort of find a good balance of your activation order because ultimately it comes down to, it depends on how your gems will upgrade each other. And so you would imagine that you could deal like up towards like 9 quadrillion per card. I have yet to see that, but my biggest damage I've seen really is, I'm gonna come back to this one. So I'm gonna waste 3 keys on a Ruby boss, but it's okay. I'm gonna showcase this 3-turn deck, which I find to be a good balance too. Right? It's not the biggest damage that you can see. That you can get, but honestly, like with so many people trying their best to get like multi-quadrillion damage, you could just come in and sort of sneak in and get your damage in quickly. So this one, I showcased this as my second deck again, so I'm just going to show again. Again, like just do quick gem matches. Really quick gem matches. You don't have to worry about searching for the dark gems. You don't have to worry about saving anything. Just go ahead and do all of this and then activate from left to right. Okay, so I can just kind of queue it up, activate from left to right. And the problem is I don't have dodge dispel, so there's a chance that it would just hit nothing. But what this protects against also is people who like, oftentimes you jump into your own boss, you're trying to get us set up for a big hit, and by the time that you manage to do it, okay, so I got 4.3 quadrillion there, so that's good. So like by the time that I'm able to get my hit off, somebody's come in and taken the boss away from me. Like, how many people has that happened to, right? So this is a good balance too, where if you really need to get some really big damage and you want to do it quickly, I find that this is a really good balance. You're not losing time thinking about your dark gems. You're not trying to save the power gems. You're worried about where you do your gem swap. Like, this is really dead simple. It's all fire. All you have to do worry about is the fire gems, and you don't even need to worry about matching anything. So your turn 2 can be really, really quick. So what I showed here is normally on average, when I use a unit area plus event card, I'm usually losing about 4 seconds in the very beginning. Now that's me, right? Other people might play much better, but I typically lose about 4 seconds game clock. And that's more than 4 seconds in real life too. And like with all the loading and everything. So by the time I'm able to get that hit off, I might be able to get a bigger hit, but more often than not, the boss is dead. So that's why, think about the balance that you could go with. And I think that would help you get more trophies faster, and you can guarantee yourself some trophies as opposed to going in just getting participation rewards. Let's see if there's anything else that I kind of wanted to showcase here. So do I recommend this deck? I think so. Do I recommend it over the water one? I'm not sure. I feel like, so there's two things going on here. Like the water one, I think is because of its synergy with jailers, it's just so good. Okay, it makes your jailers deck really good, and the turn delay, it just helps all over. But with this event deck, the nuke damage is really nice if you can get consistently the same amount output. But for sure, if you have both of them, you're golden for many events. Like, I would imagine future events, I'm just going to use this combination in one way or another, and it's going to be really good if I can get the right killer skill. So to me, I feel like this is a good investment. Not like, investment you should spend lots and lots of money on, but like if you are able to use your coins and you're debating on what you should craft, get your water one. If you already have your water one, get the fire one. Like, don't think about anything else. Okay, those two should be your priority on spending your coins. Now, a lot of people always also ask me, it's like, hey, I have I have an option to 3-star one or 2-star another. Right, like you already have the deck and you still have coins left, and you can use that to get a ultra form to 2-star or get another one to 3 pink star. Con William D put a very good comment in the chat actually, and that is the change from 2-star to 3-star for your ultimate form isn't as huge, whereas going from 1-star to 2-star gives you an increased counter. So you're going to have a higher chance of countering the debuffs from the boss, as opposed to going from 2-star to 3-star. Now, if you're going up to 4 stars, that's a very different story. But going from 1-star to 2-star has a bigger impact than going from 2-star to 3-star. That's just kind of one way to look at it. So hopefully that helps you answer that question also. Eric Taylor, thanks very much. Glad that my videos help you with that also. And so let's see other questions. Bent Circuit, your cards never fill up, cards even with fire relics. Yeah, so that's just really weird. I think sometimes it depends on just it's more often than not, it fills up at least 2 columns, but there are times when it doesn't. And when it doesn't, it really stinks, because I kind of went in thinking hey, I should be able to get this. Okay, so here's the case where there's one person in there, right? One person in here, Valak. I could potentially try and fight for MVP here. If there's 2 or 3 people, I'm assuming at this point there's probably at least 2 or 3 others jumping in already. So let's see if I was gonna say, let's see if I can get this quickly, but the lag on the phone, I think, just kind of killed it for me. But let's see. So this is my 3-turn deck. Let's see if I could beat out some of the other players here. And this is the case where if I don't get my Gen Crush in the very first turn, it's okay. Not a big deal. But I want to avoid doing Fire Gem matches. So let's go ahead and do this, and pray to God that dodge doesn't kill my damage. Fingers crossed. Let's see how much damage we can deal here. Okay, so now that I got this set up, that means I should be able to get at least some damage rather than just participation. See, the boss isn't dead just yet. And oh, look at that, 90 trillion. Did you see that? So this is where that hamburger effect comes in. big, like big power gem swap, tiny little damage, big frustration, hamburger effect. All right, let's try this again. But the problem here is now the effect is going to be much lower because we lost ambush. Because there's no ambush, our power gems upgrade ability is going to be a lot smaller because we're just doing 7 rather than 14 all the way across. And I dealt more damage this time, 135 trillion with this setup. I'm just gonna give up on this because the boss is dead anyway. I could have probably gotten good damage. So you saw earlier, I was able to deal 4.2 quadrillion with this single card. Then the second time I come back and I do this and I got 19 trillion. Okay, so at least you saw it live. At least you saw it live here. So Maria Hobbs, is Black Noir worth getting? So I think that if you aren't getting the event deck, if you don't have the event deck, I do actually have this option here. So Black Noir is a pretty good card. It does have ambush, and what it does is it creates 4 power gem 3s and then will spawn another 4 because of ambush. And so you're going to get 8 power gem 3s with this, and it is a 13 times Slayer card, so you're going to deal more damage overall with this card. And it also dispels dodge, so it helps with dispelling cards. And I think that if you have the full event deck though, like if you have the full event deck, you're probably not going to use him, but this is a good card to get. If you're able to get up to tier 4, you're also going to then guarantee yourself a Defiant Lihua, right? So Defiant Lihua is the card that gives you a nuke damage, and it does give you 5 power gem 3s. So like they're compared to the Master Collection card, which gives 6 power gems, this is 5. But you can get a nuke. So this combination, if you can get another card that can give you a lot of power gems, like for example Blitzkrieg, is going to work. The only thing you have to watch out for is Black Noir is a GVG card, so it's only going to boost GVG situations, and so don't use him as a leader, and so you have to use another card as a leader. And same thing with Defiant Lihua. Defiant Lihua is also a GVG card because of the event hero, so don't use him as leader. So all of that kind of leads me to the sort of next point, right? Nowhere is the support card used. Like I haven't found use for support cards because of the following reason. And I'm going to show you what I've got here because I don't know how many support cards I got from all the tiers. Like I pulled up the tier 5 and I opened a few side packs. So look at all, and then so the side packs, and then I earned them from the collections. Look at all of these support cards. The problem here is they create 10 regular gems, and the way that the way that this works is if you have off affinity gems, it simply gets overridden. And so you're going to end up gem crushing all over the place. And so having all of these support cards ends up becoming a liability to your deck and to your damage. And unfortunately, you can really only use at most 1. So whereas before in the past, before Gem Crush, like you want to be able to use like multiple support cards because they can help fill up the board. This one actually kind of gives you a little bit of liability unless you have like no good power gem spawners. So I'm going to show you a way to play this now. So let's say we have support cards, and oh man, I can also level up. Like I can finally, at least use my evolution coins to put it to good use. So let's go ahead and evolve our support cards, and let's take a look and see, like, how would you play it, if you don't have a lot of, like, if you just don't have good decks, or you're just kind of starting out and you have a couple of support cards. What do you do? Okay, so let's take a look. JC Wing, thank you very much. Answer your question before you asked it. Great, glad to hear. Our wavelengths were I was right there with you. Eric Taylor, you got Aegea. So Aegea is also a really good card. Like that's what I have for the longest time, and I used that card every opportunity I had. So I didn't realize that you didn't have Aegea. I would use Aegea. Like put her in. It is still 14 power gems. It's just not power gem 5s. So it's going to be a little bit less damage output, but I think you're going to be okay. All right, so let's see. What would I do with 3 support cards? Like if I'm starting out, I don't have a lot of like decks here. What would I do? And by the way, I'm going to showcase also, like, for the boys, use using golems, just set up the two water ultimate forms and then add Apex Predators. You're good to go. That's going to take up Black Noir easily. With Maeve, if you have Freedom Fighters, then you're set there. Like it's pretty simple there. Okay, so let's talk about building out a support filled deck. We're talking about support cards here, and we have Emmeline, right? So would we use 3? If we were to use 3, then I would say, like, if you went up to tier 4 and you don't have anything, you have Black Noir, you hopefully have something else, right? But Black Noir is a card you should use for sure because you're getting 13 times bonus. And I would actually say you probably want to use 2 instead and put in this card. And you want one off affinity. You want something different. Or actually, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter because it's just going to get overridden as soon as you use the power gem and as soon as you use the battle skill anyways. Now let's assume you have 5 fire relics. It'll be a lot weaker, obviously. Probably you won't have the 5, but let's just go against the guild boss and see what that's like. In this situation where you have more support cards that's just going to create a bunch of gems, what you want to do is you want to activate them first. And then get the gem crush out of the way. Okay, get the gem crush out of the way, and then get your power gems, because your power gems, if they get caught up in the gem crush, you're losing the value. Okay, so here we go. So here is the gem crush, and we're gonna create this one. All right, so I think that's okay. We're also having 2 power gems. Now let's go ahead and create our power gems here. Here's 1, 2. I don't know if I should. This is the dilemma. Should I activate? I guess this ended up being a little bit better. Let's see how much damage we can deal with this setup. 3 support cards. And this is using 3 keys. We dealt about 9 trillion on turn 1, but it doesn't get better than that. That's the thing. So we dealt about 9 trillion, right? So that's the thing. Like, if you're going to use support cards, you're probably going to just have to use all affinity, because like I'm going to show you what happens, right? It doesn't make sense to use off affinity. The only time you want to use off affinity is if you can generate a lot of power gems. So let's see what happens if I were to say, hey, but I have a water card, right? I just don't have any fire cards that's good. Would it work? Well, let's see, right? I know now I'm sort of getting into this like really off the track type teams, but I've already shown like all the other teams that I think you're gonna want to use for this event. So now I'm off to sort of exploring some other options. If you have this, would you? And here's something I'm thinking about, right? So let's say you had this. And if we had fire support cards, like, you probably wouldn't, honestly. Like, I just don't know. I just don't see how this is going to work out. But what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to say, like, okay, so let's go ahead and build out some power gems and let's go and try and overwrite them. This is going to be really awkward and really weird. I don't know what it's going to be like. I'm just testing out things. Like, I haven't tested with support cards in a while, and I do apologize for the people that don't normally get anything other than support cards. It's just that support cards, to me, like, they aren't competitive anymore. Like, using support cards in your deck, unfortunately, doesn't make you competitive enough to be able to do anything. All right, so in this case, what would I want to do? I think I want to activate this first to get the Gem Crush out of the way, then activate. Activate, and then activate. Does that improve my damage? Like, I feel like I got some Power Gem 8s out of that. Yeah. So the damage output did go up. So, like, you could replace, let's say you got Li Hua from your trophy collection. So you wouldn't use Black Noir because you probably wouldn't go up to tier 4, for example. But let's say you have the event deck. Okay, that actually worked out, and you can also, like I said, you can replace this with the dragoons. So now we're onto something here. I think we're onto something, right? So let's say you were in the Emperor League and you have 2 of these dragoons, but you don't have the fire event deck. You don't have any fire cards. Okay, you have no fire cards at all. So let's try and see what happens if you have Lihua. If you have multiple Lihua, I mean, that's fine. That's probably even better, right? But what we are seeing here is you probably are going to be okay just in the Ruby League prestige boss, but that's not too bad considering what we've got here is So let's say I wonder what's better. So I do have 2 Lihuas. If you have 3, that would probably work. And like I said, right, the Proving Ground store, if you are waiting to get something from the Proving Ground store, I would say get yourself a Blitzkrieg. Okay. All right. So now what we're gonna do here is we're gonna try this out. Just lions? You mean Merrick? So do you have the ultimate form, or do you have or just Merrick? And if you have golems and lions, it could work also. Like if you have Kelpie would work in your favor too. So let's try this out. So this is event deck that is not Master Collection card or ultra rare. No ultimate form for the water, but you do have the dragoon. Like we're basically just like building something that is really sort of like cobbled together. And this is actually what I enjoyed the most, like back in the day, is building out decks that kind of compete. Like they're not your filet mignon of the deck, right? But it's kind of like a, I don't know, kind of like your T-bone steak there. Hi, see what I did there? Anyways, so let's see what we would do, right? So we would go ahead and probably, oh no, I activated it by accident. I'm just gonna do this. That's not what I intended to do. So we're gonna do 7 and 3. I think that's probably the best option here. Let's see. I'm not sure how much damage this is actually gonna do. Like, I think I activated completely in the wrong order. But let's just see. We're just gonna give it a try. Yeah. So that was not the right way to do it. That was not the right combination. So I think what I needed to do was I needed to activate my Kelpie first, and then override it with the support card. Then activate the. Yeah, I think that's what I need to do. Do I have any? I'm just gonna go ahead and fight an eternal boss or infernal. Don't play it that way because you're gonna use 3 keys for 100 billion, and that's not what you want to do. So let's take a look. Let's see. I think you want to activate your Kelpies first. Kelpie first, then overwrite them. Right. So Kelpie. Now you can overwrite some of them. Now we can go ahead and overwrite our power gems. Okay, so that's looking better. Now we have a 7/4, and we don't have all of these gems, crushed. And that is just 1 trillion. And the main reason for that, really, I think, is because we are lacking on the total number of power gems that we were generating there. So, that didn't do as well as what I showed there, huh? What I showed was actually with Black Noir, 2 Kelpies, and 2 support cards. Was it because I had 2 support cards? I feel like that's kind of weird. Or maybe it was just the way that I had matched my chance there. But I felt like when I used the Black Noir, it actually worked better. That just kind of, it was really weird. But if you have those cards, experiment, give it a try. Perfect opportunity to try them against guild bosses and see what activation order gives you the best output. Okay, and so I guess I'm gonna summarize here now. I don't know how long my stream is going right now. It's close to an hour right now, but I'm just gonna summarize again. Like this event deck, coupled with the water ultimate form deck, is just absolutely insane. Okay, people are just dealing tons of damage left, right, and center, and it is just paving the way forward. I actually am kind of concerned about the kind of power creep that we're seeing here because, now that we're used to seeing 5 to 10 quadrillion output per card, what's next in store for us? Like Immortal Killer cards at this point have just gone so far past the OP stage. The next in line is Arcane. So Arcane and Immortal Killers are just so far off. I actually wish that they never come up with a booster card for Beast, because Beast Killer is the only one right now that doesn't have those kind of damage boosts, and I actually kind of hope that they keep it because I actually enjoy hitting the boss multiple times trying to earn the MVP, as opposed to just trying to go in for a 2-second fight, hoping that my boss doesn't get killed immediately. So in any case, that's just kind of my thinking, but I like the 1-turn deck that I showcase here and the 3-turn quick deck with the gurus. I find that to be a better balance and a quicker return for your time than using golems, even though golems gives you overall more damage. So take that, try it out, see if that helps you. Maybe that will increase your trophy count, and you can rise up in the ranks a little bit easier. Let me know if that works better for you, and if you have other, because there are so many different configurations, let me know if you're using something different that I did not showcase, or maybe I'm using it wrong. Right? Comment down below my video. Let's share this information. Let me know what you think. Let me know what works best for you, so other people can learn from it as well. And I'm just gonna answer some questions before I go. So Martin, let's see. So sometimes you have problems to match the gems, but you have to be fast. Yeah. So you just gotta if you don't get it the first time, you just gotta keep going and then try to build up your speed in when you match your gems. Okay. And you've got your lions at 5 pink, so hey, you should be able to do pretty well. And so Eric Taylor, they're just gonna have to increase the boss health. So I hope it doesn't happen. That is just a natural thing to do. But we all know what happens when they increase the health to the point where nobody can do any damage except if you have the event deck. We know how badly that's gonna go. But it is where things are right now. This deck is insane, absolutely crazy. Let me know. Share your biggest damage with me in the comments below, or you can share with me. A lot of people are doing that in my chat room already, but my recommendation or my request is, if you have a deck that you see works really well that hasn't been shown already, showcase how you do it, right? Showcase how you play it, how you use it, how you activate it, what's the relic setup, all the information. Let's help everybody out. Right, so that's gonna be it for me here, and thank you very much for joining me, guys. Ended up being about an hour long. Apologies for that, but I think the first 20 minutes showcased everything I wanted to showcase, so hopefully you've gotten something out of that. All right, thank you very much, guys. Have a good event. Hope you enjoy it. The next time you see me is going to be the live event preview for the next season with the Water Commander team. So that's gonna be it for me. Thank you. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye now.